to cut off the beginning words. But yeah, let's see. All right, Shalom. Shalom. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone who does lead and rule well. Salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim, pushing out this word in truth and in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And sincere shalom also to you, Akim and Akwaf, listening and learning, preparing yourselves here in these last days. All right, and to the entire household of faith, fighting this good fight of faith, I want to say shalom. This is your brother Dequar from the DC camp, coming back at you with another lesson. And I'm entitled this one, They Shall Hate the Whore. All right, just covering a little bit of recent news. This is going to be quick, but I wanted to get this video and a couple of articles just to show you, man, these tensions between the 10 horns, which consist of NATO and the EU, those nations, and the whore, which is Babylon, the mother of harlots, Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon, which is AKA America. All right. Now, these are some of the prophecies that we watching for, man, because ultimately, you know, some of these obviously these few prophecies that we waiting on is the MOTB, all right, and also the nuclear war, and what's going to lead up to that nuclear war is or part of that nuclear war is you go have America's allies like NATO and EU going against them, man, you know, and completely wiping them out off of the face of the earth. So check this out, man. This is from the CBS Evening News. This was 1 day ago. It says February the 20th. Well, here is February 22nd. So, you know, 2 days ago, really. But it says, I'll just read this part. It says, in Romania, which shares a border with Ukraine, NATO is holding its largest combat exercise of the year. The drills come as European leaders are expressing rising concern over the military alliance's future as President Trump's shifting U.S. foreign policy. All right, because pretty much Trump was like, "Yo, Ukraine should have never started the war," you know, and they don't agree with it. These European nations. Now you got part of the European nations. You got like Germany, France, you know, the UK. Ukraine is trying to get into NATO and the EU, you know, but all them different nations, right? Now check this out. Let me start from the beginning.
Romania, which shares a border with Ukraine, NATO is holding its largest combat exercise.
Again, fair use in case you didn't catch it earlier, man.
As of the year, the drills come as European leaders are expressing rising concern over the military alliance's future amid President Trump's shifting U.S. foreign policy. CBS's Haley Ott reports 10,000 soldiers from 9 European countries are preparing for a war they hope never comes.
On Romania's southeastern border, timely training amid growing tensions.
We're about 10 miles from Ukraine, where 10,000 NATO personnel are participating in the alliance's biggest exercise this year to show its rapid response capabilities on Europe's eastern front.
The United States is not here. It never planned to be part of these drills. But it's still very much in focus after President Trump appeared to blame Ukraine for the war sparked by Russia's invasion.
Admiral Munch?
Admiral Stuart Munch is the commander of NATO's Allied Joint Force Naples, which is in charge of the exercise. His other job is as a commander in the U.S. Navy, and he found himself facing questions about the president's messaging.
Do you think it was an unprovoked invasion? And why are you disagreeing with your president? Thank you.
NATO consists of 32 countries, and it's NATO's position that it was unprovoked.
The United States is one of those countries. The rest...
Super PC is NATO's position that it was unprovoked. All right, but he actually is a commander in the United States as well, you know? So he's in a, like I said, a unique position. But yeah, NATO, it consists of 32 countries now, but at first it was, like I said, the 10 horns, you know. Matter of fact, let me get that scripture real quick and then I'll continue that. And I want to get a couple of articles. This is Revelation, the 17th chapter. I want to start because this whole chapter is pretty good. Why is Alan's calling me? This whole thing. It says the doom of Babylon. I'm going to start at the top. It says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 veils and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And them waters represent these other nations, because America is pretty much sitting above all these nations, man. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. All right. Yeah, because they done pushed their philosophies on all these other countries, man. You know? It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Because that's that beast. You know, this beast system. Okay? Like I said, which consists of, it says the 7 heads and 10 horns, which is just NATO and EU. All right. It says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And that is America. All right. What that has that wine is it's a whore. It's completely against the Lord, man. It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, the Israelites, especially the elect. It says, in the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration, because that's what they're going to try to come down upon us, right? It says, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carried her, which have the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pits, like it, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. It says, and here is the mind. Hold on. Is it? Hold on. Let me jump. These. Yeah, it says these have one mind with her and shall give power and strength unto the beast. That's all them other nations. But I wanted to jump down to verse 16. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom to the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. So the Most High made them have this alliance, and he's also making them have this tension, man. You know? And then they're going to burn her, like I said, end up in that nuclear war. Now, let's get this, and I'm going to get a couple of articles, because it's Trump's position that, they got to start, defending themselves. And America needs to be more concerned with America, since, these other nations don't seem to be too he pretty much saying that they ain't helping America enough, man. He was saying that during his first term, and he came here with a vengeance. The hell? Man.
Apart from Canada, are in Europe, where the defensive alliance has been integral to maintaining peace since its creation over 75 years ago. Even from across the ocean, that peace has benefited the U.S. in areas like global security, trade, and deterring threats from adversaries like Russia. But now, with the White House seeming to question NATO's utility, European NATO members are nervous.
Are you in an awkward position now, though, because of what President Trump has been saying, because of what the Trump administration is saying?
There are discussions going on at the national level. There have not been decisions made, and so I'm executing according to the orders that I've had.
Orders to keep working with allies to prepare for the worst in hopes of preventing it. Haley Odd, CB.
Yeah, they're getting nervous, man. All right, so let me get these articles. The first one I wanted to get, it's not going to let us read it. Oh, now it's letting me read it. That's what's up. All right, it says, make this smaller. Oh, I took it away. It says the Trump administration trashes Europe and NATO. All right. No, it's good. It's going to let it. Oh, it's blurry. All right, but I got it here on my phone. I must have a little membership, because they make you subscribe to this thing, man. But this is from the New Yorker, and this article came out. Where is it? The date, I believe, February the 20th as well. Just like that video, right? It says speeches delivered by J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth were not just verbal lashings of America's allies, but a wholesome rejection of 80 years of U.S. foreign policy. Right when they started, they created that. Like I said, the NATO and EU was created, NATO 75 years ago around. All right. It says the Munich Security Conference, a usually staid gathering of diplomatic and military leaders, offered up a startling moment last week when the chairman Christoph Huygens, having listened to J.D. Vance, declaimed on what he described as Europe's myriad failings, broke down in tears after the speech of Vice President Vance on Friday. We have to fear that our common value base is not the common anymore. This is beautiful, man. Beautiful times we living in. As Apostle Howard once said, man, if you getting weak, it's because you're not paying attention to the prophecies, man, because we are in those last days. It says Vance's speech represented an astonishing rebuke of America's closest and most enduring friends, most of them members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. It says, indeed, it seemed to turn European reality on its head. The real danger to the continent, Vance told the gathering, was not Russia or China, but the threat from within, the failure of its elected leaders to listen to their people who want an end to mass immigration, and he suggested a greater voice for conservatives in domestic politics. The organizers of this very conference have banned lawmakers, and again, I'm going to show you the headline, so if you can possibly look it up yourselves, this article. It says the organizers of this very conference have banned lawmakers representing populist parties on both the left and the right from participating in the conversations. He said, listening to Vance at a conference on European security, no less, you would not know that a European state, Ukraine, was fighting off an invasion by Russia, and that the war had killed tens of thousands of people. But the real stunner was delivered by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, speaking in Brussels, where NATO defense ministers were meeting, when he said that the Ukrainians who have been fighting alone for 3 years should give up hope of reclaiming all the lands taken by Russia. Ukraine, Hegseth said, Ukraine, Hegseth said, should not expect to become a member of NATO, either which would entitle it to more robust European and American protection. And finally, in case that message hadn't sunk in, Hegseth spoke at the press conference in Poland, where he suggested that Europeans ought to prepare themselves for the day when U.S. troops who have been stationed on the continent since the end of the Second World War begin to come home. That's why our message is so stark to our European allies. Because at one point Trump was like, he gonna remove the troops out of Europe, and that definitely got them scared, because America is the muscle. It said that's why our message is so stark to our European allies. Hegseth said, now is the time to invest, because you can't make an assumption that America's presence will last forever. Two speeches by two of the most senior members of the Trump administration were not just verbal lashings of America's allies, but a wholesale rejection of 80 years of U.S. foreign policy. In this extraordinary moment, it's worth recalling how and why NATO came to be. Now, I was going to give you some history on NATO. When the Second World War ended in 1945, many Western leaders expected peace to descend on Europe. Instead, they got a series of aggressive moves by the Soviet Union, and they talking about Russia, one of the victors. First, there was the coup d'etat in Prague, when a group of, I can't say that word, Czech communists backed by the Soviets overthrew the elected government and set up a police state. Then came the Berlin blockade in 1948, when the Soviets tried to drive the Western powers out of the occupied German capital. These actions and others prompted fears that Western Europe, much of it still in ruins would fall into Soviet hands. In the spring of 1949, the leaders of the United States and 11 European democracies gathered at the Andrew W. Mellon Auditorium in Washington, D.C. to form the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The pact stipulated that an attack on any member constituted an attack on all. President Harry S. Truman, and you can look up Trump's stance on this stuff, where he was like, they not holding up their end, who presided, said he'd hoped that NATO would create a shield against aggression. The premise of this treaty was that the security of Europe and the United States, which share common values in history, was one and the same. Because you know that America sprang up out of Great Britain, Slovakia. Got to make this one quick. I still want to get one more. It says, 2 world wars have proved that. Over time, NATO became arguably the most successful alliance in history, preventing a major war from breaking out in Eurasia for more than 75 years. From what Vance and Hegel said, you wouldn't know that the people they were addressing were America's allies. All right, I'm not going to read this whole thing, because it's a quite long article, but you can see the tensions right there now. You got this one from the European Union Institute for Security Studies. This came out on the 17th. It says, the Trump card. What could U.S. abandonment of Europe look like? Now, Trump did come out and say that they're not going to remove the troops from Europe. All right. But it says, according to, now you got to understand now, in Daniel, the second chapter, you go into, I think it's around 31, but the point that I was reading in 41, Daniel 2 and 41, whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of the potter's clay and part of it is iron, because it was mixed with iron and mixed with clay, because you got some of these nations that's strong nations and some of these nations that's weaker nations, man, and they depend on this alliance and for protection, for trade. It says, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. All right. So if they abandon that, it's an issue now. That was a vision that Nebuchadnezzar was having of this kingdom in this last days, this empire. All right. You got this Edomite empire in these last days, right? It says, according to the recent survey of European experts, withdrawal from Europe by the United States will be as destabilizing for the EU as a nuclear attack by Russia. You see that? With the return of President Donald Trump, their concerns could soon be a reality. The new administration's initial policies negotiating with Russia without involving Ukraine or EU allies, expecting European countries to enforce a future agreement without U.S. backing, and attacking the EU on trade, technology, and freedom of speech raised concerns about the reliability of the U.S. as an ally. Because Trump, he pretty much was like, I'm going, talk with damn, his name just escaped me. Fuck, how did that just happen? Damn, Russia. So how did his name just... Nope, that's not even who I'm thinking about. Vladimir Putin, Slovakia. I don't know why his name just escaped me, but yeah, Trump was like, I'm gonna, talk to Vladimir Putin, and he pretty much cut out the EU from out of that, man. So you can see how the EU and NATO is kind of tied together, but that's the seven heads. Look at this, but look at all the troops that America has stationed out there. And he was like, yo, we might leave. However, abandonment of Europe. Well, hold up. However, abandonment of Europe could still entail multiple scenarios. On the one hand, Trump may see abandonment as a policy goal. The U.S. should shift focus to the defense of the U.S. homeland and the challenge posed by China. This would result in a progressive reduction of U.S. forces in Europe. On the other hand, Trump could use the threat of abandonment as a bargaining chip to force allies to spend more on U.S. weapons or to gain concession in other areas such as trade and technology standards. This could result in a bilateralization and fragmentation of defense ties between Washington and European capitals. The brief presents the two scenarios outlined above and their policy implications. It argues that the reality will likely include elements of both scenarios and that the EU should be prepared for both. The best way to do so is to invest in a strong European deterrent force. All right? Hey, man. This is a beautiful thing, man. Trump's return has elevated fears about the future of the transatlantic relationship to a new level. All right? All right, so I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is called the Trump card. What could U.S. abandonment look like? Abandonment of Europe look like, all right? So, check this article out, man. The things is heating up, man. You got Jeremiah 51:7 talking about Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that have made all the earth drunk, and the nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. So America has spread their philosophies on them all this time, and they turning back, man. So they influence and they allure. They got these other nations in a state of chaos, man. So just keep watching that situation over there, man. That whole Ukrainian war is it was a catalyst for now. It looking like the breakup between the Babylon the Great and the beast, the 7 heads and the 10 horns, man. That's going to start to hate them. So keep watching that, keep watching, and as it is our job to do, man, and keep reporting that news as it comes, man. So Lord's will, this lesson was edifying. Just wanted to get a couple scriptures, a couple articles, and this is that divided kingdom right here. At the bottom, and then I wanted to get that this video right here, man. Hey, so with that, Lord willing, was edifying. To the next lesson, I got head to camp. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachakadash. The next one, I want to say Shalom.